Hello. So it is almost 8 o'clock. We already have a couple of people on. Before I introduce myself, please give me a moment. I'm just going to share this on our Facebook page just so that they can join the conversation. So things are moving a bit slowly. I'm just waiting to stream. Just a second. Hi, Sarah. I will promote you to panelist shortly. Just give me 1 second. I just want to avoid the echoing that will start when it starts live streaming on Facebook. I think we might now be live. Let's try again. Okay. Hi, Sarah.
Me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, perfect.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry, the lighting is terrible where I am, so.
No, it's okay. We can see you just fine. I'm just going to get the other panelists up. Excellent. Hi, Yvonne. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, everybody.
Should probably say hi to Gabby. She's right
Hi,
here.
everybody. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, Gabby.
So we are just waiting on Danny, and we're waiting on Kamshuka. Danny didn't send me a message. She's running a little bit late, but she will join us soon. But before I even start, welcome and happy International Women's Day.
Yay, happy Women's Day.
Yay. I hope everyone had a great day today.
Absolutely.
I can say that only two men wished me happy International Women's Day today. Only two.
It's kind of like, it seems weird to say happy International Women's Day because, I mean, it's happy and it's like, congratulations, you're a woman, but it's also like, hey, we're still working at this. So I feel very weird saying happy International Women's Day.
Well, for one, it was followed up with the I'm going to make your life easy today and not bother you, I'll bother everybody else. So I appreciated that. So yes. So
My daughter went and bought us cupcakes at San Remo.
I saw that photo online.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That was very cute.
So I'm going to just keep watching on the side just to see when Danny and Kamshuka joins. I just have to make sure I keep my eyes open for that. But first, again, Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. And Amanda says that she saw today that it was originally called Working Women's Day, back when women weren't as common in the workplace.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Good that we all worked today then.
I guess. I guess. So before I jump into everything, I have 2 thank yous to do. First, to one of our sponsors, Level Up Conference. They're having a conference in April at the Mississauga Grand Banquet and Event Center, and they're going to be giving away 2 tickets tonight to that event. So that's exciting. It's a conference that it's created to provide professionals and entrepreneurs with an opportunity to learn skills and techniques to help them reduce overwhelm and stress in their lives. And we do need a little bit of self-care, right? So it's a perfect place to be. The other one is the Fiona box. So I've received a couple of those boxes. I think Kelly, you received a couple too.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
The Fiona box is Canada's first subscription box for female entrepreneurs and professionals. The box is more than just a bunch of stuff. Yes, it is more than a bunch of stuff. We want women to have a guilt-free experience to treat themselves while investing in themselves personally and professionally. And the theme for this month's box is Money Matters. So it'll be kind of cool to see the sneak peek of what's in that box. I can tell you the box I received last month was spectacular. It had these really cool snacks from Nom Noms, and I was on no grain, no sugar. It was perfect. What else did I get? Books. I forgot already. Oh yeah, like bath salts, all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's not just stuff. Remember that.
And I think there's always an online component as well with some online training.
Yes, yes, there usually is.
Mm-hmm.
So, brief introductions for everyone. I'm going to go around this way according to my screen. So it starts with Gabby.
Okay.
Tell us who you are.
Sure. So my name is Gabriella Mammone, and I own Kind Projects. We're an organization that supports charities and not-for-profit groups. So we help them with fundraising, awareness. So we would do anything like writing their grants, being their MC, helping them plan their events, that kind of thing. And we're really passionate about people that come together to support a common cause. So that's what we do. We support all kinds of groups and individuals and charities fighting for their own beliefs, and we're proud of that.
Excellent. Welcome, Gabby.
Thank you.
So we're going to go to Kelly next.
Okay, sorry, I am just sharing us on Facebook here as we start.
On our Facebook page, and this will be available on YouTube right after.
Yeah, so it's there live on the Canadian Small Business Women page. So I just gave it a share there. So I am the owner of Teach Me Social. So I teach social media and marketing, digital marketing to small business women. I'm also the founder and owner of Oak Learners, which is an alternative private school and learning center in South Etobicoke, where children can explore multisensory, multifaceted learning through arts enriched and outside the box curriculum. Children can explore,
Excellent. Kelly, I don't know who's echoing. Someone might be echoing, but Yvonne, you are next.
Okay. You know what? It's interesting. Every time I say introduce myself, I always think, how am I going to do this? Where do I start with the 10-second elevator pitch or something like that? So my name is Yvonne, Ruke, Akpoveta, and I work with professionals and organizations to help them successfully transition through change. So it could be professional change, it could be organizations implementing systems, processes, regulatory requirements. I also organize a conference which is called the Change Leadership, again targeted at professionals and organizations. And this year the theme is leading change in the face of AI and robotics. Very exciting. Wow. I envision, it's scary, AI and robotics, but, at the same time, it's so much fun what it can do. So excited about that. And I'm also an author of The Change You Want, Change Your Mindset and Change Your Life. and also some career and business workbooks. So essentially, I'm all about change. I just love change, anything to do with change. Don't ask me if I change easily, but I just love change.
Excellent. Welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about today's panel.
Oh, excellent. Sarah.
My name is Sara Singh. Like Yvonne, it's like, oh gosh, all this anxiety comes over when you've got it yourself. I have a really interesting background. So I'm the founder of Broadening Horizons. We're a nonprofit organization, and we do arts-based social justice education in the community. We've been primarily based out here in the Peel region, but we are expanding to across Ontario. I've also sat on a number of community boards, Community Living Ontario being the most recent. So I've been an advocate for persons with disabilities and having them included in our communities. I'm also working on my PhD at Ryerson University in public policy. And my research looks at ways that we can increase access for individuals with intellectual disabilities to access post-secondary education, and then obviously access the labor market after that. And I'm currently also the NDP candidate in Brampton Center, so that's very exciting. And yeah, just looking forward to the adventures that all of this brings me. But I'm really excited to be a part of this panel. So thank you so much for including me.
Thank you, ladies, for being here. So first, I'm going to start by saying I went to an amazing event last night, and I wish I could have packaged what I felt in a bottle after leaving, because it was so inspiring. So I was very excited to follow that event with having this kind of conversation where we can really we can have a little fun with it. We don't have to make it too, not too stressful, because it is after all our day, but I'd like to think our day is every day. Mm-hmm. So I have a fun question for everyone, just to start it off. Mm-hmm. Give me one good memory from today. Gives you that chance to reflect. One good memory from today.
Wow.
I can give you my second example from the Happy International Women's Day. They did say it should be pizza day, and that the women should be allowed to have pizza and the men have to watch. It made me a little bit happy, but I mean, we want to share too. So, but it was just a good chuckle, just the thought of just how he thought it would be kind of fun. Like, hey, you guys deserve a reward. We should just watch you get a reward.
Wow. Well, so definitely, I would say the opposite of the highlight of my day was starting my day by plunging a toilet at work. But honestly, you know what, it made me reflect, and it was actually kind of a good way to start the day, because it made me appreciate where I was. And I sort of stopped and I went, you know what, this sucks, but hey, I own this, I'm running this, I'm doing this, and I'm a woman, and wow, that's the significance of today. And then, I interacted with so many people throughout the day and was able to be so grateful for the connections that I've made, the people that I work with, the support that I'm surrounded with. And it really, it felt grateful all day long. And so, even grateful to have the opportunity to plunge a toilet in a business that I'm running. And that's not something that, all women around the world can have. And that's, the significance of the hashtag for today, Press for Progress, is we need everybody to be able to choose if that's how they want to start their day or not.
That's true. Anyone else?
I have a story. I today, woke up and I saw 3 invitations to 3 different events on the exact same day. And, I know we've all been there before. It's like, oh, how do you know which one to go to? Now, one of them I already had in my calendar. I'm part of a public speaking group, and so I'm participating in a contest. So one of them was already in my calendar to participate. But then what was interesting is I'm also an ambassador with the MS Society of Canada. And so there was an opportunity to support them in one of their events, same day. And then there was also another opportunity to go to a different event. And so being a woman and kind of feeling like, wow, 3 big organizations wanted me to join them. It was kind of a nice feeling for me, and especially on today. And, it's one of those things of, how do you choose, and you really can only go to one. So what was nice about that is that at that moment when I was in my calendar trying to pick, there was a man that had texted me who I haven't talked to in quite some time. And he basically sent a nice text saying, Gabby, happy International Women's Day. He said, you know, I think of you as a superwoman and I just wanted to honor you today. So I thought, you know what, that was really nice. And
Wow.
that kind of supercharged me to be able to choose the event that I'm going to. And here I am. Well, different day, but yes.
I want to come up with some fantastic memory and say that, you know, it was an awesome day. So all through I've been like struggling, okay, come up, think of something that went well, you know. You know, like Kelly, you know, always grateful for each day. You know, today started off with me waking up late, you know, so I was rushing for the train. So I already started the day off in a rush. And trying to think through the day. And I think maybe one of the little things that I'll just be a little bit grateful for, because a lot of things went wrong, you know, but, you know, you pick the little ones, is that starting from yesterday, my MacBook just went down. Like everything is not loading. So you can imagine agreements, contracts, respond to emails, send off things. So it's like really crazy. And went to the MacBook store, and as they're about booking me the appointment, yes, we have one appointment. Before they can book it for me, somebody else takes it.
Oh, no.
So yeah, you know, so that's the kind of day I had. But you know, the good thing is, you know, I still found somebody really nice on the phone, you know, called MacBook support, and they were so patient with me, and, you know, they got me through all of this, you know. And, you know, just even getting those messages that annoy us all the time, you know, on WhatsApp, everybody sends that image, happy with anything, and you're thinking, oh, my box is filling up. But you know, say, you know what? Somebody thought about me to send this to me, you know, and you appreciate it, you know, and it kind of like just gets you really in the mood and thankful and full of gratitude that somebody would think of you and write your name and send you something. So that's still awesome at the end of the day. The little things that count, you know, so that was good.
Wow. Sarah, no pressure.
So actually my memory is probably easier just shown to you. So I'm just going to try to pull up the video. So just bear with me here. So I had the opportunity today to actually participate in an International Women's Day event at our public library. And so we got to share our project, which is called Power of One, and we actually raised awareness about language. And so we centered the conversation today about language around women that they're experiencing. So folks in the community shared with us. So I'll try to show you the video through the screen if this is going to work, hopefully, but it'll make the most sense. And so it was really great because we literally, so I'm just going to try to hold it up here. You might be able to see it, and I'm going to press play. But this is a young person leaving a statement that his mom had shared that I guess maybe her partner had shared with him, that you're not good with money. And so it was really powerful to see him acknowledge that that was something that was impacting his mom as well. And this whole canvas is filled with all sorts of language that's left by other people. And so we've got everything from cheeky to intimidating to being bossy and fugly, and us being disrespectful. And so for me, it was really powerful. And so this was a big highlight for me, you know, as again, a woman, and, you know, being able to connect with community and have them share some of those experiences, but also have them understand that they can move forward. The second part of our project is about changing that language into something positive. And so that's exactly what people were doing. So here's another one of those videos where a young person was helping us transform the language into something positive. And so she was sharing love and rainbows on the piece, which was really, really cool. But the piece at the end looks really, really beautiful, and all the hurtful language is transformed into really positive and impactful statements. So that to me is always a lot of fun, but it was really meaningful to do today. And so it was definitely a highlight of my day.
Oh, nice.
Wow, that was beautiful. So, in taking from, I'm just going to say that she won the challenge in this one.
I agree. I vote for Sarah as well.
In taking from what Sarah just said, because I know the theme is press for progress, and we are always thinking of things on a grand scale, but what can we do in our communities or in our small spaces to start making that change? So whether it be in your office or in your home, what kind of impact do you feel we can have? How can we do it? Anyone can have the question.
So I work with young people every day, and I work with children of all ages. And I think for me, it's about letting each one know and having them own a sense that they are valued, and seeing those words written. I think that we all need that reminder, and we all need to know that there's people around us that value us. And so for me, you know, empowering women, but also empowering the next generation and moving forward with progress is about us all knowing our value.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm going to pick up on that, Kelly. I think, you know, speaking to the next generation, but also acknowledging that, you know, we've come so far, but we still have so much further to go with them as well. And making sure that they understand that they can pick up that torch and move it forward, I think is really, really important. But I think we also need to acknowledge that there are still many, many issues that we're facing. And without actually acknowledging that those issues are present, we can't actually constructively work on them. So a big part of the dialogue for me, I think, is about educating that next generation on where we are, and being real about that as well, and not sugarcoating it for them, so that they do understand there is real work that still needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. You know, for me, I think when I think about Press for Progress, I'm not thinking about the small things. I'm envisioning, for some reason, that world where we get to, whereby there isn't anything like International Women's Day, you know. So I'm thinking, you know, today I did actually spend some time thinking, why don't we have International Men's Day? You know, so it makes us realize that to have International Women's Day, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to get us to a place where we don't have International Women's Day. You know, it's no longer a thing. And, you know, and it just seems, it seems overwhelming but possible for us to get to a place. I'm thinking about where, you know, women are not treated any differently. And you know, what can we do in our individual things? You know, I can think of so many things that I can, you know, get my hands into and help this charity and do that. And I just think start from where you are is always very key. Start whatever it is that you have a passion for. You know, it's always to encourage every person to use that gift, because in using that gift, you know, for whatever it is that you have, you're more able to make a difference consistently. You know, if I decide to go volunteer for something that, you know, maybe just like go help a school out or something, and it's not my passion, I'm not going to be consistent, because when I hear Press for Progress, I think about consistency. It's like pushing forward and pressing, you understand? So it's really about, you know, all of us finding that passion that we're all about, whether it's tech, whether it's STEM, whether it's, you know, it's even being a homemaker at home and nurturing the minds of the kids, you know, the men to think differently, the women to think, you know, differently, and molding the mindsets of even the children. But whatever it is that we all find ourselves doing, to do it in such a positive way that drives towards change, you know, in the world. So I really spent today reflecting on a time when we wouldn't have anything called International Women's Day. That was it for me.
So, did you want to jump in? Sure. Okay.
When I hear Press for Progress, I really do think of pressing forward without complacency, because sometimes we tend to be complacent. And it is important to speak our minds, but at the end of the day, kindness always wins. So there's a way to say it. And I think that if we can really continue to be kind, volunteer, understand people's opinions, you know, embrace change, and we go through all of that, I really do believe that we can almost change our physiology, and we can have that presence of, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you can still make it, you can still be that CEO, you can still be that great mom, whatever it is you're looking for and whatever your goals are. I think we can definitely do that regardless of our gender. It's just a matter of being confident. You know, Harvard did a study, and they had people stand up straight for 2 minutes with their hands on their hips. And at the end, the results showed that their testosterone level raised 20%, man or woman, doesn't matter. And their cortisol level, which is your stress hormone, reduced 22%, which lowers your blood pressure, thus giving them a 33% more likely chance of taking action, regardless if you're a man or a woman. So we just have to take action, avoid complacency, and I think, we're going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of the book called Lean In. Sometimes we just need to lean in and take, so even leaning in the book, it's like press for progress, is like just moving forward and just going at it, regardless.
Kelly, that would be a great exercise to do with the kids at school.
Yep.
And that is actually really good.
For sure.
I might practice that every day.
Well, it's really interesting because even in a lot of the training that I've done for, reducing anxiety and reducing confrontation in the classroom, because I've worked in a lot of difficult classrooms, we're very much taught not to put our hands on our hips as teachers and as educators, because it's a very confrontational pose as well. And as we all know from, even just meeting with people, it's a pose that you really don't want to take, but it does sort of give you that power to want to go forward, which is probably why it is, can also be confrontational. So I think it's also about sort of knowing, I guess, we teach kids to know, how their body feels in different situations, and, recognizing different emotions and different feelings in the body. So like heart rate, like you said to Gabby, and the raising the blood pressure, and your body warms up and you start to hold your shoulders up a little bit higher when you feel a bit more confident. And if kids can start recognizing how that feels, I think then we can start taming it and giving them direction on how to use that properly.
I look at that as being, it's kind of like the superhero syndrome to me, because how I look at someone standing with their hands on their hips is a superhero stance. So you should feel confident as if you're a superhero. I don't look at it too negatively, unless, it really depends on how.
Yeah.
So you look at any image, I would want a child to feel powerful, to feel empowered. And if that stance is what does it, I'm with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we already kind of talked about how we can impact change in the future generation, but how can we impact change in adults like us? Because a lot of us are set in our ways, and we have these generalizations that we make, positive or negative. And the other thing that we do is things happen to us, and we will automatically want to assess if it is because we're a woman. So how do we kind of turn the tables, or how do we turn the tables of who we perceive as our aggressors?
I think to me, it comes down to really, like, you've used a powerful word, perceive. It's how we perceive things, and it's, how we perceive things is really tied into mindsets. It's our environment, it's how we've grown up. If you've grown up in an environment whereby, you've been told, it's all about being, a woman can do this, a woman cannot do this, a woman cannot do that. You start to grow to believe that woman cannot do that. I use the word privilege a lot of times, but I feel very privileged that I grew up in an environment with a father that always was, you can do it. Anything I wanted to do, he told me, you can do it. Actually, like, you don't want me to sing. If I was to sing right now, you'd beg me to give my daytime job. I couldn't even sing to save my life. But you know what? I'll say to my dad, "Oh, when I go, I want to be a singer. I want to be." As he said, he said, "You go, girl." He told me I had the most wonderful voice. So for the longest time, I thought I had the most wonderful voice until I was an adult, and my friends said, "Just hold it," kind of thing. But it's really that environment in which you've grown up in, and for any change to happen to you, you have to first start with the mindset, the subconscious on the inside of you. And from the subconscious, when you're able to turn it around, then you're able to start to see change. Because sometimes, without a doubt, you will face some barriers because you're a woman. But the difference is how you deal with it, whether you see it as a barrier or you just agnostic to it. So if I go for a job interview, I'm not going to think, and I don't get that job interview, I'm not going to think it's because I'm a woman. I'm not going to think it's because maybe I'm Black. I'm not going to think it's because I'm not skinny. You understand? I'm just going to think, what am I going to do differently the next time? However, if you have that mindset is, oh, because I'm a woman, then you make yourself powerless because you cannot change the fact that you're a woman. So you will forever be limited in there. So the first thing starts from people just realizing, having great self-awareness, to see what are those mental blocks that are holding me back when it comes to change and progressing. And, just refusing to see whatever barrier it is that is right in front of you. It's like refusing to see it. It's not like it's not there. Even if it's there, but you just push past it, I think of some games that I play, and it just, when you just get your lines right or the squares, I've gotten into playing games on the phone, and it just crashes, the glass just shatters, but they say there's a glass ceiling, but guess what? There's a glass ceiling and the glass can shatter. So even if there's a barrier, there's a glass, you shatter it and you just keep on moving past it. So it's really seen beyond any of those barriers, and it starts with self-awareness in terms of what's holding us back, and it also starts with mindset. I dare say, if things happen, we're just going to remain where we are. Yeah.
Anyone else want to input on that?
Yeah, I think absolutely, like jumping off of that, it's the mindset, and it's also keeping the conversation going. And I think, getting outside of our comfort zone and talking to people that we don't talk to on a regular basis, and making sure that we're sharing the conversation beyond our inner circles. And that this conversation about, our confidence and our abilities and who we are and what we can do and what we can offer, can go between all different circles and all different, cultures and groups. And, it's not just that we continue to have the conversation with the same people, but we need to talk about it with, everybody.
I would absolutely agree with that. And I think, again, it's not just about our silos and operating and having those conversations with those groups. I think we especially need to, bring men into this conversation as well, as much as we can. This isn't just about, us as sisters lifting each other up. This really is about us all lifting each other up, and acknowledging that, yes, there are barriers, but if we don't work together, as it may seem that we can break through some of those glass ceilings, we may not be able to do it just alone, right? And so having a little bit of extra assistance in order to break through it, I think is one of the ways that we can, really broaden our horizons in terms of the conversations that we're able to have.
Yeah. What you just said reminded me of two things, which is very key, is, there's always this thing as saying, when you get up there, remember to send the elevator down, for that next person. So it's really important that we're, lifting each other up. And nobody can say, network is very key in terms of us all trying to, raise each other up. I think about there's this saying, the old boys network. There's a reason it's old boys network, because they help themselves, as long as you're in that group, you're guaranteed to be able to help somebody in that group. But, as women, we need to start to really support and build each other up and send that elevator back down and mentor other women. And like Kelly said, we also need to get out of our environment, whatever environment we find ourselves where we feel we're limited. Maybe it's time to just move out of there, find new friends, and just find a new clique. Go out there and meet other women that are doing it. And just the more you're around positive change, the more you're inspired to do it, because you start to see yourself in other people who are doing it, especially people that you can see yourself in. If that person can do it, and if she can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
And I think, even to just add to that, I think like we're brought up in a culture of competition, right? And so we aren't necessarily always taught to help each other out. We're really taught to compete. And as women, I think that's amplified. And so if we can find a way to connect more effectively and kind of lift each other up, I think that's where we're really going to see, this change magnified, and our success is magnified. But acknowledging that there are limitations for us, and sometimes it isn't another woman that we need to be, you know, helping ourselves lift each other up with. Sometimes it is our, you know, a male identifying counterpart that may help lift us up, and sometimes it isn't the women that we're surrounding ourselves with that are the ones that will lift us up, and I think that's important to acknowledge too. And so yeah, I don't want to say too much on that, but I think that it's important for us to kind of break outside of those core networks, like we were saying, and really just kind of expand who we are interacting with, because we can, I think, benefit a lot from that.
So
I think,
go ahead, Kelly.
sorry, I think, you know, we've touched a couple times on, you know, talking about women building each other up, and then also talking about our male counterparts. And I think it's also important to mention that there are a lot of men working for this goal as well, and that it's not just about, you know, circles of women or circles of men working separately for this, but it's that we're all working together. And just repeating that, I think Yvonne said that too. And, you know, we all are working together for a common goal, and it's, you know, about breaking that glass ceiling that's not just, it's not also just held there by, you know, the old man's club. It's, you know, it's held there by a lot of women too, because a lot of women still see that. And so, you know, it's not, I don't think it's a gender specific issue right now. It's really just a human issue where we all need to sort of say, hey, we're all equal. We can all do this if we want to. And like, let's go for it.
Agreed. So I believe Sarah was touching on, I had the point in my head and then I lost it, but how other ways we can probably try to help each other. But I was reading about the whole budget 2018, and then you see the $1.65 billion for women business owners, and then there's $4 billion for science and research. And, you know, that is a way that the government is trying to find a way to help. But I'm interested in hearing how everyone, I know it's all a feeling, and we can all kind of speculate how we think this might work, but the fact that there is money being put into these programs is actually, in my eyes, is actually really good, because women are making up a very large part of the small business sector, and it's about time that we're being recognized and we're being supported. And of course, there's a huge movement for women in STEM. I'm one of those ladies. So I'm always excited to see more women in science and, you know, technology, engineering, mathematics. I think it's great. So what do you feel about the numbers, if you've gotten a chance to take a look at them?
Could you say those numbers again? I think could you?
So $4 billion for science and research and $1.65 billion for women business owners.
You know, I think the government has recognized, you know, for a while now that small business is really running the country. So the amount of business that's coming out of small businesses is quite significant towards, you know, the economy in Canada. And so for the government to recognize too that a lot of women are taking that upon themselves for whatever the reason, but I think a lot of it is that a lot of us have gotten really tired with the corporate culture. And so a lot of us are stepping out and doing things on our own. And so small businesses, particularly those run by women, are starting to be big players in the Canadian economy. And so I think that, you know, the fact that the government has put aside that much money to help us go that step further is fantastic.
I'd have to agree. I think it acknowledges the contributions that we are making, and it does provide the assistance that I think is very much needed to help level the playing field as well. So I think that points to a clear indication that there is obviously an unequal playing field for women who are entrepreneurs and how they're accessing opportunities. So these funds kind of help offset that and create a more balanced approach in terms of the opportunities that can be accessed. And as we all know, women who are accessing STEM, and I would even say STEAM is the next movement that we need to be pushing.
Yes.
We really do need to, again, the future is female. And so, you know, when we can invest in girls accessing education and opportunities, both in the business as well as science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, I think, you know, we're getting a more equal playing field for everybody. And a lot of this is because I think we recognize that women make such an important contribution, and that without this assistance, I think they're not able to contribute the way that they would want to. And so, you know, whether it's childcare or whether it's assistance for, you know, small businesses, I think we're acknowledging that there's an opportunity here to engage women in contributing more effectively to the economy, both reproductively and productively?
Yeah.
The amounts sound really great, and it's good that money is going in there. So to me, I see that as a recognition that there is a need for something. But I'm a little bit hesitant to really comment on how great it is. And the only reason I say that is because we know there's a lot of grants and money that has been put into things year after year, but people are not accessing that money.
Yes.
So, that money can be there, but it's how that money is going to be used at the end of the day to find out how it's going to be put into, to great use, or what people are going to do with it. So have they gone out there to find out what is the real need out there? How, is it just about putting money in there, or where are they going to assign or allocate that money to me is the big thing that we need to determine. Because time after time, they put a lot of money out there, but people don't go after it. It's almost as if sometimes we don't even know it exists.
Yep.
It's almost as if we have so much treasures, but we don't know it. We don't know there are grants there that we need to go after. I see Dwania nodding her head because she's probably aware of this, about so many resources that are available to people, but they're not using it. So I think we need to get to the root of that best.
Are there. They don't know how to get to them. So I would like to hope that some of this money is going to be used in order to get the information out there to the people who truly need it.
Yeah. What's the red tape there in getting the money? You understand? So there's one thing, there's red tape to be able to get the money. Sometimes, this money is really easy, because I remember getting a grant to do something, to employ somebody to help do my business. And it was very easy to do it. But guess what? There are not many people who knew and know that is available. People, either they're not going after the information, either the information is not being shared, or either people have that mindset thing as if I'm not going to get the money, so I'm not going to bother, to go get the money. So it's a bigger issue as in, how do we get people to use this money which is available, and how do we get it? It's there, but how do we get it?
I know I'd like to hear Gabby's input on this, because Gabby, something that you do is you help businesses, not-for-profit organizations go after these funds and these grants. And I know, you and I have had a conversation about this, because I know that there's some available, but I also, as a business owner, I am busy, like I said, plunging toilets and running the business, that I don't have time to sit down and access these grants and find this information. So how are we supposed to go about finding this information, Gabby?
Thanks. That's a good question, Kelly. And yes, you're right. One of the things that I do is write grants for charities and not-for-profit groups. And it is an ever-changing realm. So, and I would do anything that anyone else can do watching this webinar is go on the website, type in government grants, and see what comes up. And there's a lot of different facets and a lot of different areas. So for example, there's an area for youth grants. And, did you know that there are grants for youth to start businesses? And it's not that hard to get. It's really a questionnaire, and they want to know a lot about the business. But as anyone that's a parent or a guardian or someone that can mentor a child, they just need that push. They need to know where to get that information from. They need the help filling out the grant, and they submit it. And you're right, Kelly, it is a very time-consuming process, whether it's the youth or whether it's for us or charities or whatever it is for small businesses. But it does take time to find it. Deadlines are very aggressive. If the deadline is there, that's the deadline. There's never an extension. So it's very important that your timing is planned to be able to produce all the necessary documents for the grant. But you're right, they are there, and there's so many different types of grants as well, but we just have to kind of do the research.
It's a matter of
you have to do the work.
Manpower.
People have to do the work.
Yeah.
The manpower, especially if you are the sole person running your business. It's hard to take away from the time that you would normally spend trying to make money for your business in order to focus on trying to get the grant. So it's, which one's more important?
Yeah, it's almost like the 80-20 rule. So as a small business or entrepreneur or somebody trying to build their business, there's almost that thing in terms, if you want to grow, you just have to be able to start to delegate, understand what are the key things I need to do and what do I need to let go and let somebody else do? And sometimes it's almost difficult to let anything go because you just feel nobody's going to do it as as good as I'm going to do, you know. Like, for instance, this year my team has grown to, you know, like we're for running the conference, you know, it's grown to like maybe a team of 6, you know, you got to 8, and then, you know, there's the staffing issues of people and managing people, and you almost feel as if you don't do it, if you don't get it done, nobody's going to do it as well as you. But sometimes you just let go and somebody else can do it much better than you, you know. And there's almost that fear in terms of hiring people, because as small businesses, you know, there's always that cash flow constraints, you know, there's always that need for cash, you know. But sometimes if we can learn, and it's difficult to learn to say, let's let this go, let's hire somebody, maybe they bring in the ability to be able to allow us to earn more money. You understand? So almost hiring out or having an assistant that can help us do some of those research and find money will enable us to grow and expand. But it's just, it's difficult, you know, it's long hours. Anybody that goes into business shouldn't think it's a 9-to-5 thing.
No.
You know, it's, if you think you're going to cut down your hours, it's a whole different kettle of fish. You know, there's no vacation, 7 days a week.
And work kids into that as well. If
Oh, I don't know how
Yeah.
you guys do it with kids, because I'm just like, the way I was feeling this morning that I needed coffee, there was no kid that I was gonna be preparing breakfast for any child.
It's okay.
Yep.
We all look fabulous doing it. We all look fabulous doing it. And speaking of all that, then I can dive into the whole self-care question. So as women, we always feel like we have to, like, we can't say no. We have to always say yes. We are the most caring of the bunch. So we want to make sure that we take care of everybody else before we take care of ourselves. How do you find balance? Like, I know,
laughing. We're like, what balance?
What's balance?
What's that?
What balance?
how they do
Did you
it.
find it? What does balance mean?
Yeah.
Balance
But
are days where you say, I am on strike.
Oh.
Might only last for an hour, but at least you're on strike for an hour.
Well, and I think that's the point, is it may only last for an hour. And so we have to take it where we can get it. And so, you know, I did, you know, recently hire someone who can help out in the office and who can help take on some of the later hours. I think she's watching right now. So thank you, Amanda, for being there tonight so that I could come home and have an hour to myself. And I actually took a nap. And that was such an indulgence for me. But now, you know, we're doing this, it's late, and I'm probably going to be up late working again. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, parenting and all kinds of other stuff that has to happen. And so if we can find an hour to take a nap or, you know, sit and read a book, oh my gosh, what does that feel like, right? But, you know, we have to take it where we can get it, is my point.
Oh, gosh. I'm so You know what? Even when I get an hour, when I force myself to take time out, I have to tell you, I still feel very, very guilty because I think about all the things that I need to be doing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're really just sitting down there watching TV, reading a book? You think, you know, if you listen to somebody like Gary Vee, I don't know if anybody listens to Gary Vee here, you know, kind of thing. Gary Vee is such a hustler. He's always on the go, like 24 hours that you know, doing everything. And he makes it seem as if every entrepreneur should be doing that, you know, be on the go for 24 hours. But I struggle with what you call opportunity versus self-care and rest and all of that. So if I feel that if there's somebody there waiting for me to send a proposal to them or an agreement, I find it difficult to rest. You understand? I want to do all it takes to, you know, get that business or, you know, kind of thing. And I almost feel like I'm working, you know, 24/7 all the time. And I take vacations. So last year I took 4 vacations, you know, but during those 4 vacations, I'm not going anywhere without my laptop.
Yeah.
You know, I had my laptop with me always, you know, and now even I have my smartphone with me. I'm still always working, you know, kind of thing. I you know, I don't want to say I'm a workaholic, but sometimes some things need to be done. So it's, you know, but I don't know, I struggle with it. I struggle with self-care and balance. And I think it's a little bit out of whack for me at the moment. No matter what I try, it's not happening.
But I think if we love what we do and we're passionate about what we do, then work doesn't feel like work. And so, finding, balance might also be just doing something that makes you feel happy. And so, sometimes like working on my website is kind of self-care for me because I really enjoy it. I really like being creative. I like getting into the graphics and the colors. And I find that really calming, but it's still technically work. But it is self-care too, because I recognized quite early on that I need a creative outlet in my day, and I need to do something creative. And that to me is my self-care too.
Yeah, I agree with you there for sure. Yeah, that's what makes a difference why I go 24/7, because I enjoy what I do. If I didn't enjoy what I do, I'll just give up,
For me, everything goes in my calendar. So my phone calendar is with me all the time. And so no matter what I need to do, and even if it's play with my children, then I'm scheduling that. And whatever's in my calendar, I really try my very hardest to stick to that. And if my phone rings in the time that I've scheduled to play with my children, it has to go to voicemail because that's what I've scheduled myself to do. In my case, I have 2 kids, I have a disability, I have 2 businesses, and I do lots of volunteering. And so my schedule is packed, but so is everybody else on this panel and really everybody else watching. We're busy. We live in a busy country. But my recommendation is to really schedule it. And we're not perfect and things are going to get pushed to the next day. But again, my point is if you can schedule it, that's what your goal is. And you might start the day saying, okay, today I have to achieve, this one thing or these 3 things. Then you get it done before you go to bed. Because when you go to bed, knowing that you've checked those 1, 2, 3 things off, then that means you have achieved it. I don't know about you, but for me, I personally think multitasking, I don't even know if there's such a thing. Because for me, I can't possibly do 2 things at once. Great. I have to really do one thing great, and then I'll move to the next. And that's how I manage my time well, and it works for me. So,
yeah. You know what I thought about? My definition of self-care is actually the opposite of self-harm. Because self-care for me is indulging in red velvet cake.
That's a good.
That goes in all the wrong places. But self-care is like grab some ice cream, sit down on the couch in front of the TV, and just have that, chocolate cookie dough ice cream, or just have a tall glass of Bailey with rocks, ice filled in it. That's self-care for me, honestly. And I just lay back and I just watch one of those movies as a PBR or, like Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yes, I watch it. That is my definition of self-care.
Yeah.
But I need to go to the gym after that.
Also part of self-care, right?
Sarah, what's your definition of self-care? What do you do?
I think I agree with everybody. Like it all depends on the person. And so sometimes it is like, continuing to work on something, because then that is actually helping me calm down because I've continued to work on a project or my website or what have you. Other times it is really just, following, as you were saying, Gabby, your schedule, and you've assigned a certain amount of tasks or things that you need to get done for that day. So taking that hour, to go to the gym or just relax, you kind of feel like you've earned it. So for me, that's really, really important. But that didn't all come very easily. Actually, I had something really abruptly happen that kind of caused me to, realize that self-care is actually really, really important. And if we don't take that time for ourselves, we are going to burn out. And so it actually took the death of my sibling for me to realize how important it was for us to take care of ourselves. Because that was always something that my older brother was always trying to tell us that we should be doing. And we were so busy and caught up in, no, I've got this deadline. I need to get this done. And now I've got to go volunteer here. That myself, I just sort of got lost in the hustle. But after, my brother passed away, it was something that I was very cognizant of needing to do, which was, take that hour, even if that was like on a Sunday night, and it was like indulging in Netflix. I never used to watch Netflix or TV really. But that's something I've started doing now. So, every Sunday night I start at like 9 o'clock and I'm like, okay, whatever needs to get done, it should have been done already. And if I didn't, well, it can wait till Monday morning. So I think being very really intentional about taking care of yourself is really important, because one, it'll help you be more efficient and effective, and two, you will feel so much better about yourself, and the people around you will also thank you for taking that time to take care of yourself. And so now I'm always like that person. It's like, hey, did you take some self-care time out, because it is really, really important. Now, mind you, I don't have children, so that's a whole different ball game. I think if you have kids, it's even harder to find that time, but it is really important. So yeah, for me, it's like just whatever it is, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm just vegging out doing absolutely nothing, but it literally is just finding the time to spend on yourself. And again, that could be writing poetry or working on your website, whatever it is, but it's a whole mash of things.
Yep.
I'm very, very serious about trying to find balance. I work a lot, like full-time job, run a business, but I try to make sure I have an active social life. And I'm very serious about it.
And I see your pictures.
Because honestly, you only live once. And if I die tomorrow, I'm okay with it. Well, one, I don't have a choice. And two, I mean, I feel like I've done a lot and I feel like I've enjoyed myself. Like, I work hard and I deserve to play hard. Now, for the first time, I think last year, I took the month of October off CSBW business. I had an out of office and everything. Let's be honest, I wasn't off, but I didn't have to answer emails. I didn't have to plan an event. I didn't have to answer to anyone because they didn't expect to get a response from me for an entire month. The first week, I felt incredibly lazy. And I did say it out loud. I'm like, is this what normal people do? Because I cannot be normal. I cannot if this is what normal people do. So I started doing a lot of stuff that I needed to get done for the business. It worked for me that way, but I'm definitely going to try that 1 month gap every year where I can step back from answering emails and all these inquiries because it gets overwhelming. But I do find as women, we need to try to find that balance, and the scheduling of it is very important. Yes. It's just like I used to say, oh my gosh, I don't have time to go to the gym. I schedule my boot camp, and God bless you if you come between me and the schedule, because if it's scheduled, it's happening. I do the same thing at work because I see people run around and they're like, I got nothing done today. If I have a task and it's going to be 2 hours long, I don't care if my phone is dinging and if the emails are popping up on my screen, I'm not answering it until I'm done these 2 hours right here, because if it's urgent, you can get up and take the 10 steps required to come and speak to me. If it's not, you're going to wait until the time is done. That helps me sort my day out. I also write lists. Lists are the best things ever. Because if you're not thinking about it, it's on paper, you don't have to worry about it. Because I would always walk around like, okay, I have to remember to do that. I'm the girl who, okay, I hate going to the supermarket. Hate it, hate it, hate it. I will say I need 3 things at the supermarket. I will repeat those 3 things until I get in the supermarket, and I will forget 2 of the 3 things once I get to the door. And
that's why I love my Google Assistant.
I forgot the bread. So yes, I do use Google and, do my shopping list now.
Yeah.
I do, but I need a list. It clears my head. Don't have to think about it. I can think about all the fun stuff I want to do instead. So find the balance. Go to some really fantastic events and always bring a great +1. If you're ever looking for me, I'm here.
So sorry to throw us off, but you know how you said you want to enjoy life and social life is important?
Yes.
I'm sitting beside Dwania. Now, here's her water bottle. So Dwania, tell us what's really inside this bottle.
Well, this time it's water, I promise.
Shall I smell it?
You can.
Oh, it's not water. No, it's water.
I wouldn't have hit it. There would have been a glass of wine right here. I wouldn't have hit it.
Because it's okay to indulge.
It's okay.
Even on a webinar.
Even on a webinar. I'm sure if you look back at some of the webinars, you will see me doing that. But
I think one of the very first ones that we did, we both had a glass of wine beside us, Dwania.
We were together. Yes,
yeah.
We did.
That's funny.
It is what it is. balance. So yeah. Oh, let's see. So the controversial stuff. So I know Yvonne's like, ooh, this is not Real Housewives, I promise. So all this,
that's my guilty secret, Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't believe I said that out, it's so, I don't believe I said I watched.
It's okay, I watched too. And Kelly might secretly watch, she's just not saying.
You know what? No, I actually have never watched a Real Housewives episode of any of the Real Housewives. I don't know. I'm not a reality TV person, but
you live in this world. We get it.
I'm caught up on Scandal, so I'll say that much. Yeah.
I'm the 1% that has never watched an episode of Game of Thrones.
Oh, no, I mean neither.
I'm a part of that too. So
oh!
all of us not getting.
I haven't either.
How we stay so productive. No, just kidding.
See, clearly you scheduled that and we didn't.
Well, no, the thing is, I love television. I absolutely love television. I'll watch everything. There's no shame in that. My mother did ask me last month. She doesn't understand why she did say why I like television, and then I corrected her and said love. Because she's like, growing up, you didn't watch a lot of television. I'm like, that's probably why I love it so much now. So it's okay. I'll watch everything for all of us. So right now, the big hashtags are Time's Up and Me Too, right? And I am so on board with everything that's going on with this. And I am so impressed with, I would like to call it the rally cries and how everyone has come together and talking about the issues. Now, in terms of Time's Up, what do you all feel was, or have you ever had one of those moments in your life where you feel like this is the tipping point and I am going to speak up and stand up for what I feel should be mine?
I've always done it all my life.
You're a born leader.
I've always done it all my life. So, so I wouldn't, I have more of an opinion of the Me Too one than the Time's Up.
More opinion of the Me Too than the Time's Up? We're going to get there.
Mm-hmm. So I'll keep quiet till then.
Anyone want to jump in about Time's Up?
I think it's great. There's, a group of women who have gotten together and, created a fund for women who want to seek legal action against harassment in the workplace. And, to know that support is there if you're in a situation and the only thing stopping you from reporting it is the money to take that legal action, then I think that, it's fantastic. But why did it take a group of celebrities to make this happen? And where are, the rest of the women who know that this is happening on a daily basis? I think all of us, the popularity of the hashtag Me Too, for example, is that we all know that this happens in the workplace. I think we've all been in situations where this has happened in our workplaces. And maybe that's a large generalization, but I know I've worked in multiple environments and always sort of seen it and always known that it's there. So why did it take some celebrities right before the Golden Globes to stand up and say, okay, enough is enough? The rest of us should be doing that on a daily basis too, and not just saying, well, it happened, so we're just going to let it keep happening. We all have to stop it and not just wait until it happens to us.
Mm-hmm. Let me just interject and welcome Darine.
Hi everyone, sorry I'm way behind schedule. I was in the traffic, so here I am. Nice to meet you, ladies.
Nice to meet you, Darine.
So we were just talking about the two hashtags that are everywhere, Me Too and Time's Up. Yvonne is going to save her comments for Me Too. And I will step back now. Someone else is going to speak just now.
My opinion on Time's Up is...
Hello?
Can you hear us? I don't know what just happened. Sorry, guys. Okay, can you hear us, Darine? There's feedback or something going on. I'm going to mute for now. I just muted Darine, but she can hear us, I hope. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. My opinion on Time's Up is that sometimes life is like a game of chess. You know, you've got a move that you can make and you're just not sure if it's the right move, but you got to think 2 moves ahead. If I do that, then these are the repercussions. And I think sometimes people are afraid of change, and you know, Yvonne can comment on that soon as well. And so I think sometimes it's easier to keep it silent for fear of what could happen by speaking up. But what's nice is people are speaking up. And so I think now people are perhaps feeling like there's a community there for them and support there where they can go to get that feeling of support. And I think that's why we're starting to see media come forward and introduce more stories to us.
I'm kind of along the lines of Yvonne. I have a lot of comments around the Me Too, but I think with the Time's Up, I think it's important to acknowledge that, as you were saying, Gabby, like, you know, people aren't always comfortable. And I think that this hashtag and movement has allowed people to know that they do have the power to speak up where maybe they felt powerless before, because there are consequences to moving forward with that. And I think it would be remiss of us not to acknowledge that there would be consequences. And so you do feel empowered on a situation that you might be in, to actually, you know, demand the change that you want to see in a sense. So I think this hashtag has allowed people to know that they do have a voice and it does matter. And yeah, it might have come from celebrities, but now everyday women also through social media know that they can then use that as a platform to acknowledge what they're also experiencing.
So I guess I should jump to Me Too.
Mm-hmm.
Yvonne's waiting.
She's like waiting with bated breath. Yvonne, you know, share your comments with us.
Before I go into the Me Too one, you know, I do have to acknowledge and give credit to the Time's Up. You know, like I said, I don't take voice from a very young age, you know, so I don't take that for granted. And, you know, all of this help, you know, even with the celebrities doing it, it gives a voice to people who may have lost their voice for one reason or the other. So I don't take it for granted and I appreciate everything. And at the same movement has started, I appreciate that it's allowing people the confidence to be able to move forward and know that they have you know, the power of other people behind them to support them, you know, in doing this thing. Because, you know, even with the Me Too, where it's, you know, like, you know, abuse against women or one thing or the other, you find that even women attack women. You know, if you come out and say, this happened to me, you find the same women saying, you put yourself in that situation, or it's your fault of that. But one of the things that I'm very much on the fence on when it comes to Me Too, as much as I appreciate what it's created for us as women or created for everybody, I feel it's being abused. And I also feel it's unfair. I feel it's very unfair because, you know, some guy looks at a woman and she feels, you looked at me funny, me too. A guy does something, me too. But do you know what? Women are the worst. I was watching a program the TV show and everything, and all these women, T'Challa, and they were touching on his body, you know, saying, oh, how he does this, or women sees a guy 6-packs and they're going on about he has 6-packs and they're ogling at him. How dare a man do that to a woman? So what gives women the right to be able to do it to men? So do men start their own hashtags, me3? Like, it really, really gets to me the way I see it, you know, double standards. So women talk about double standards, that we're not treated properly because of certain things, but men too. What about women who abuse men? You know, they see a guy and say, oh, you're sexy. If a guy said to a woman, oh, you're really sexy, or stared at his chest or did something, there's nothing wrong with a woman doing that. But if a guy does it to a woman, why is there something wrong? So I feel, so that's where I am right now with the Me Too. So I appreciate what it's been able to do, but I feel that there's a certain level of double standards around it, where women are doing so many of the same things to men and they're getting away with it. So let's look at the two sides of the story. That's my thoughts. A little bit controversial.
No, I like the honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can unmute Darine.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I really like your honesty, actually, and I do share the same point of view. But something that I would like to add to the conversation is that how do we go beyond the movements and the taglines? You know, increasing awareness is very important among young women, among women, and among men, among people. But then how do we translate it in the real world? You know, in our day-to-day life, how do we translate it? And I think that's the disconnect that there is between taglines, hashtags, and great movements. But then what's behind? There is nothing happening behind. So even though as a woman, I feel more uncomfortable maybe that now I know that it is happening to other women as well across the world. But then on a day-to-day basis, what does it change for me? Really? Because once again, increasing awareness is important, but if you don't change the system behind, if you don't change the mindset behind, if you don't change just the, you know, let's talk about the police officer. If a woman go to a police officer, it's quite challenging because police officers are not trained properly to listen to women who are being abused. And most of the time, those women are sent back home, for example. And so I'm not really a fan. I think it's very important of increasing awareness. We need it, but I'm not like a fan of this great movement and all the noise around it and all the momentum around it, and especially when stars, you know, all these celebrities, they jumped into it. That's fine, but then what does it change for me on a daily basis? Nothing. So there is a disconnect here, and I think our role as leaders and women empowered is to be able to bridge the gap between just to go beyond the taglines and movement and do something concrete in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Our education plays such an important role in terms of our next generation and making sure that they understand. And I think to pick up on Yvonne's point, while I don't necessarily agree fully, I do acknowledge that that is a fair perspective to have, because I think men are experiencing it. And I know having experienced violence myself, I was comfortable sharing prior to a hashtag coming out, so that other people could be educated on that experience and what the implications of that were to my own life, but also acknowledging that my brothers and men around me also needed to be a part of that solution, and acknowledging that they too were also experiencing violence against themselves that was often led by women or other men. And I think the conversation is very limited that we're having in terms of what the impacts of this movement can be. So yeah, men are impacted, women are impacted. And I think someone in the comments had mentioned it's not all women and it's not all men. So not all of us will have a Me Too story. So I can't assume that you also would have the same experience I've had because you haven't. And you can't assume the same of me. And I can't assume that any man is going to harass me while I'm walking down the street, because it may be a woman that might be harassing me, and harassment comes in many forms. And I think that's important to acknowledge as well. So I think it really, as leaders and as educators and innovators, I think it really does fall on us to then properly prepare the next generation to understand what consent looks like, to understand that culture that is so pervasive, to understand the systematic issues that are present that continue to allow these systems to be replicated time and time again. It's the justice system, it is the police force, it is our day-to-day dealings. So I think it really does fall on us to take the torch up again and have that broader conversation, that it isn't just women that are experiencing this, and we as women alone cannot solve this problem. We need to bring in unity. We need to bring in the men. We need to bring in everybody into this conversation. And again, you know, racialized women are experiencing violence in a very different way as well. And so I think that's another part of this conversation that we need to be having, and how we're moving forward. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I think, you know, the movement, what it has done is brought awareness, but I agree, Darine, that we need to do more. And so I think that's where educating our next generation on what they can do and how to prevent this from happening to others, both men and women, is really, really important.
I'm a big believer that we can train our own brains. And so if we, you know, wake up in the morning and say, you know, I'm going to have a bad day, everything's going to go wrong, then guess what? You know, things will go wrong because we're almost conditioning our minds. And when we use that analogy in day-to-day life, you know, I don't want to blame a situation on the fact that I'm a woman. If I go into, you know, if I'm treated poorly, I don't want to blame that because I'm a woman. I'm treated poorly because maybe I was inappropriate with my words, or I, you know, and so I think that if we can have the mindset, I don't want to blame anything on the fact that we're women. I think we need to be strong leaders in the community. I think we need to be involved. I think we need to motivate children and lead other women and certainly bond together. But I don't want to blame situations on the fact that we're women. We have to stand strong and take action and just become better people.
I think if like our sons are being taught that because we're women, they can engage in certain behavior, I think that is what then perpetuates that. So to break that cycle, we need to be acknowledging that as women, we are treated differently because we are taught that we are different. And so unless we start to teach others that we are all equal, then we will all be treated the same. But as long as we're continuing to differentiate between the two, I think we're going to continue to see this cycle perpetuated.
Yeah. I know Darine says not to start another hashtag, but I think we need to start one that says respect for all. You know, so it starts with respecting all. You know, we all need to respect each other, men, women, kids, children. We just need to respect each other in everything we do. And, you know, that's where it is. It's, you know, and I very much agree with Darine. We have the hashtag. What are the concrete things? Because, you know, in reality, that hashtag has created fear. You know, I know people who go into the office and a guy wants to say, oh, nice hairdo. And it's like, I don't think I'm allowed to say that because it might be considered harassment. It might be considered inappropriate, you know, for me to say that. So you can't even give a compliment now because you feel as if it's going to be taken the wrong way. You understand? And what really, really, really gets to me, I mean, I when I saw on the internet, I saw a video and how they were just all going on about T'Challa from, you know, the movie and touching him when he wasn't, you know, live on air, touching him and rubbing all over his body. What gives anybody the right to just touch because he's got muscles, he's built well? How dare they do that to a woman? How dare they even touch a woman's hair? Touch less of her chest and her body and her hips and everything on national TV, international, globally. So we need to start thinking about respect for all and not just me too. It's too one-sided, I think. The conversation is a little bit too one-sided on that. You know, we need to bring more balance. We need to really breach that gap between starting to have real conversations on what it really means and educating people on what it means and respecting, you know, respect for all. But I don't discard the fact that it's really giving people a voice.
I think, you know, the other aspect of this conversation, sorry, Darine, I know you're about to jump in there, is the accountability piece. And, you know, what's really come out of this is making, you know, certain men accountable for their actions. But accountability has to start with children, and we have to start teaching accountability from a very young age. And unfortunately, what I've seen in education is a trend towards a lack of accountability for a lot of people. It's always like, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. And, you know, it's always the blame being put on other people. It's the teacher's fault. It's the school system's fault. It's the parents' fault. And no, I mean, you know, a lot of it comes down to choices that we are allowing children to make and then blaming it on somebody else. And really, you know, we need to start teaching accountability. And when we talk about having respect for all, and that's a quality that we want to teach, it's also then respect for self. And do you respect yourself enough to take responsibility and be accountable for your own actions? And that's the other side of this conversation. And that's bigger than just sexual abuse and sexual harassment. It's about little things in everyday life when we talk about bullying and we talk about, peer relationships and we talk about what's happening on social media and comments that people are making. And, people need to be accountable for everything that they say to everybody, no matter who that person is.
I definitely do not want to end this on a controversial note.
Let's find some peace.
Do I almost think like, should I have brought up that topic?
No, I mean, if we're going to discuss things, I feel like we should discuss a little bit of everything, right?
Yes.
So what can I ask lastly? I don't know if anyone has any comments that they would like to make about anything in particular. Darine, I know that you just got a chance to join, but we did cover some things in terms of the budget for 2018, the federal budget that was released. We do have some good news. Something great happened today. Bank of Canada released a $10 bill with Viola Desmond on it. So
awesome.
Quite great. Can't wait to get one in my hands. We talked about the 2 hashtags. We talked about what we expect from our government, from our male counterparts, from each other. How can we impact the future generation? Maybe just a touch on, I know we did kind of talk about inclusiveness, and it doesn't just stop at women, because right now it seems to be not just to talk about gender parity, but in all aspects, in terms of race, in terms of just everything, really. So I'm interested to know, in terms of Press for Progress and just keeping it with women, how do you feel? They say 200 years until we possibly get to parity. How realistic is that?
I thought you wanted to end on a lighter note.
No, I just had to ask because I don't believe it's realistic. It's not.
So that's gender parity, right?
Gender parity.
I think we can do it before. I really think that we can do it before, because we live in, the time is now, in the sense that women, we are more educated than ever. We are more empowered than ever. There is still a lot of inequality, but not only towards women, towards men as well. But when it comes to the pay gap, for example, I think we can do it before, because there are more and more women speaking up. There are more governments being involved. It's not enough, but we need to start somewhere, right? Even though it's baby step. I think this week or last week, the government of Ontario, maybe Canada, or it's Ontario, they released like this new bill to encourage all the companies beyond 500 employees to to make their salary range public. So it's not enough. I mean, we can do better, of course, but I think it's a good start. And I think that now more and more women, sorry, I have been talking a lot. More and more women are less willing to be paid less. That's the thing. And a lot of women, when they cannot get paid what they think they deserve, what they know they deserve, they just like move. They just leave the company and start their own business. Now you see more and more women building their own business because they want to make money, and they know that they can make money. If the big companies don't want to talk about making money, if they don't want to talk about, paying women what they deserve to be paid, then women,
Sorry.
it's okay. Then women will just move on and start their own business and start their own initiatives. And that's what's happening now. That's what's happening now. When you look at the consulting business, I think there will be like 200% increase in the next like 2-3 years. It's huge, but why? Why? They are not like more people on the market. It's just like women, men and women, but more women are just not willing to be paid less anymore. And at some point, the companies will face the reality that they need to increase or to close the gender gap. So I truly believe that we can do it before the 200 years or 150 something years. I truly believe it.
I agree with you that I believe it, although I don't know that the approach. I want to respectfully disagree with the approach to start businesses, because starting a business is not any much easier, you know.
It's not.
It's
not.
so much harder. So maybe it's more like, but I do applaud, you know, women who have written books like Lean In, you know, which is shifting the mindsets of women to be able to lean in and speak out. You know, I appreciate, you know, things like even the time is up now where people are beginning to stand up. I see a disparity, and they speak about it, you know, owning their voice. You know, in a country like Canada, I see that I see it happening before 200 years, you know, that I see happening. Maybe in some of the countries like, you know, where I come from, I'm Nigerian, you understand? I don't know when it will happen, but I've seen that there's been a very, very, very big shift where women are beginning to speak for themselves. And I don't think it will take 200 years, even in a place like Nigeria, you know, because here there's a big shift. People are beginning to speak up, and like Darine said, there are laws that are going into place. And you know, we spoke about it a little bit earlier, whereby I had my reflection about today was I want to move from a place where there's nothing like International Women's Day, because that means this parity now exists, you understand, and there isn't any need to, to honor and celebrate women any differently than there is to celebrate and honor men or children or any of those people. So I do believe that it can and will likely take less than 200 years. You know, the pace, where it's a place where social media has 10x everything, you know, so what would have, if you, before the age of social media and the internet, maybe you could have said it would take 200 years, but with social media now and the internet, you know, things spread more quickly, you know, people see what's happening in other countries, and, you know, it just gives more people voices, you understand, to be able to speak out, talk out, and know that they have the support. They see what somebody in Nigeria sees what's happening in Ghana or in the States or in England, and they have that support network of where people are coming together to make things happen. So I think it will happen quicker.
I think that it's important that we remain excited. You know, we are women. Today's International Women's Day, which is wonderful. It shouldn't just be one day a year. You know, we can have these kinds of platforms and we can share information throughout the year. And that's why I actually commend organizations like Canadian Small Business Women. And I think we all need to give special kudos to women like Dwania, because what she's done, yay, everyone give her a round of applause for Dwania. Because what she's done is, this is not just a today event. She has events throughout the year. She brings like-minded people together. She allows us to build synergies, share information, build off of each other, motivate each other, lead everyone. And by doing that, that's how we build the positivity and the synergy, and, you know, be proud to be a woman. And so, you know, kudos to you, Dwania, and your organization, because it really says a lot about, you know, where we're going and you know, how fast we'll get there.
Yep. Thanks, Gabby.
Yeah. I think so. And Yvonne touched on, you know, the pace of change, and, you know, a lot of what we talk about has arisen from the Industrial Revolution and the factories and the hierarchy created in corporations, you know, with the addition of women coming into the workplace because of the wars to replace men, and then sort of being expected to maintain a role that was subservient once the men came back from war, right? And so I think we need to look at it in a historical perspective. But now, with the tech revolution coming in and completely changing the face of the corporate world and of the economy, you know, we don't know what the economy is going to look like in 200 years. We don't even know what it's going to look like in 50 years, because the jobs are changing. You know, the jobs that were available to women 10 years ago are not going to be the same jobs available to women 10 years from now. You know, even today, you know, there are so many more opportunities and so many different ways for women and men to engage in local and global economies because of technology, that's all completely shifting. And so I don't think we can look at, how long is it going to take? I think we need to ask the question of what is that going to even look like?
Wow.
Yeah. Remember I said I was doing something on AI and robotics?
Yeah.
Girl,
I want to be there. I'm there.
Ladies, it's disrupted things. It's disrupted.
Yeah.
200 years it's like too long. AI and robotics is disrupting things like what we're doing today.
Yeah.
I'm really afraid
It's gonna change, just like the Industrial Revolution, and it's gonna change jobs, and we need to start thinking about that change, how, what we need to start to do to prepare, because actually I'm releasing an ebook, sometime this week or next week. Somebody's working on it, to publish it, but it's really about what employees and organizations need to start doing now to prepare to, for the AI and robotics, time, because AI and robotics is already happening now. Everything we're doing, nobody's not being impacted by it. Just even going on Google or Amazon, you're already, you're already experiencing the outcomes of it. So it's really going to change everything we're doing. So gender parity is not even going to be, it's going to be the list of discussions that we're having, because it's really going to be like, just what are we doing as human beings as opposed to male or female? That's what the conversation will be.
That will be an interesting conversation. So I'd like to do a whole round table where anyone can, everyone will give some parting words, inspirational ones.
Counterclockwise this time.
Okay, so as per my screen, counterclockwise. So I'm starting on that side of my screen, which would be Sarah.
All right. Well, I think one of the things that I think we all can take away is that as women, we really need to continue to work to build allyships within our own groups and outside of our silos. I think that's really, really important. So I think a big part of creating the change we want to see is about, breaking through that glass ceiling, as you were saying, Yvonne, but also creating those partnerships, bringing more people into the conversation on how we can move forward and make sure that we are achieving what we can and being the best we can, and also hoping for the future as well, and making sure they also understand the importance of those allyships. It isn't just a us versus them, it really is an all of us together.
Thank you. Yvonne?
I think what I want to leave people with, anybody listening to this, is that we're so much more powerful than we think. We have everything within us to be who we want to be. Not to be somebody else we see, but to be who we were born to be. We are so powerful. We have it. If I had 2 hours here, I would give you stories of how I've been able to do things that I did not even think were possible. I felt that I needed to know somebody to be able to do something. But I've achieved so much without knowing anybody, but believing in myself and just daring to dream and just to go out there. So for anybody listening to this, we're just so much more powerful than we think. We're more powerful than the label as being a woman, or being, we're just powerful, just being, as in being a being, BEING, human being, we're just powerful as human beings. And so we just have to be, and just believe in ourselves, and don't let any label stop us from doing what it is that we want to do and be, and just go out there and make it happen for ourselves, because we can do it. And together we can do it with the support of each other.
Thank you. Darine?
Okay, so I believe there is some connection here with Yvonne, because that's something that I wanted to say, Yvonne. So we women don't know, especially women, we don't know how powerful we are, but we don't know how smart we are. That's something. We don't know how smart we are, and we are not aware of what we are capable of. You know, the thing about self-doubt, we women are professional. We are experts when it comes to self-doubt, and just being aware of our potential, of how smart we are, it's just like, it can make a big difference in the way we approach life, in the way we approach people, in the way we live our life to its fullest, right? So just for all the ladies here and the gentlemen, I don't know if they are like gentlemen on live with us. Oh, my husband is like, oh yes, I'm listening. But it's just like, you know, let's cultivate some self-awareness. I'm not talking about self-love. Self-love is very important, but let's cultivate self-awareness. We need to be aware of how smart we are. And I want to show you something. I was at another function, and then I got stuck in traffic, but I was wearing this t-shirt today. I'm a smart woman. And all the women in the room, and even the men, were like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, I want to make a statement. I'm a smart woman. I'm a smart woman. And I want you ladies, and I want the women to be aware how smart they are. So you are all smart ladies, and just, you know, make a statement.
I like it. Thank you. Kelly.
Yeah. I think passing on the message is important. And there's a quote that goes around every single International Women's Day, the here's to strong women, may we know them, may we be them, may we raise them. I think I got that right. And so I think that that's important, though. We need to be strong in ourselves. We need to have the confidence, as Darine said. We need to share that then with others. May we know other strong women, and may we help raise them up. And then it's the may we raise them, and that's the next generation. And we have to share that confidence and teach the next generation to have that strength and confidence to share their voice and make their voice heard and do what they want to do. And if they're smart and they want to stand up and say that they're smart, then they can do that and not even think twice about it, and not have people make comments about it, because that just shouldn't be a thing. It should be a thing that we can do and say what we want to do. And if we want to be a fantastic mother and that's our passion, then go for it. And if we want to run a business or be a world leader and that's our passion, then go for it, regardless of our gender. And that, I think what we really need to teach, not teach, but share with all the women and girls in our lives.
Thank you.
I am just really excited to be a woman and to be amongst these like-minded people. We're all going to be thrown curveballs in our lives. We all have lots of challenges that come our way. And what's important is that we have to believe that we can prevail, regardless of what the situation is. And people might be thinking, well, how do I smile when I'm faced with disability, or I'm lacking funds, or my business is not doing well? How you smile is by being grateful for something that you have, right? We're all here. Everyone on this call has something to be grateful for. Your children, your education, that trophy you just won, your job, whatever it is, we all have something that will make us smile. And smiling implements these wonderful, great neurotransmitters called dopamine and serotonin, and they just make us feel good. So let's feel good. Let's always be positive. Kindness always wins.
Yes.
Now the pressure's on me to say something great. I mean, I was jotting something down as each one of you spoke, and the one thing that's at the top of my list is self-awareness. Now, it's always good to be self-aware. Now, self-awareness comes with the positive and the negative. I've always said to people who know me that there's nothing a stranger can tell me about myself that I don't already know about myself. There's something someone who knows me can possibly tell me about myself that I might not have picked up on because they took the time to know me. And I would much rather receive that than something from a stranger. So that also ties into the whole limiting beliefs, where we're, especially in the age of social media, where we're so reliant on how other people perceive us. It's really all about how you perceive yourself. I know I'm great. Well, if you've met my family, you will also know that I come from a family who's full, like we're oozing confidence because my parents would have it no other way, because they're not going to allow other people to put us down. I mean, I had to teach my mother that when someone says, "Oh, you're gorgeous," she should not say "I know," she should say "thank you." Because she's like, "No, but I know." Like, no, we know you know, but they would probably prefer to thank you. So, you know, be self-aware, love everything about yourself. What others perceive as bad, you know what, you can turn it into something positive. It's just like I say to people who attend my immigrant small women's, I can't even say the name, the Immigrant Women's Small Business Expos. A lot of people say, oh, being an immigrant, they think it's a negative thing, but no. You now have one thing that a lot of people around you don't have. And you also have this sense of cultural intelligence. You should use that to your advantage. So nothing you have is negative. Who you are is who you are intended to be. Don't try to be anyone else, but just try to be your best self, right? Every day. I'm happy every day I wake up. You know, the smiling, when you're saying you have something to smile for,
Yep.
Every day when I wake up. And if the sun is shining, my smile is even brighter.
Yep.
Probably better than Yvonne's. And I always tell Yvonne she has an amazing smile.
Yeah.
But if the sun is outside, I'm happy. So find that thing to be happy about, find that thing to be confident about, and you'll find that that is what will really propel you. And I think that's what really holds us back, that lack of confidence and always looking for reassurance in others. So that is probably all I'm going to have to say about all of this right now. But I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to do this on such an important day.
Oh, thank you for having us. It was
Thank
awesome.
you for.
And I have an event to attend tomorrow. So hopefully I see some of you. It's at City Hall, the Toronto Women's Forum.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be a fantastic day. But thank you again to Fiona, Female Entrepreneurs Association of North America, as well as Level Up Conference. I will send an email to the lucky winners shortly. And I would like to thank everyone who's listening. And I'm going to thank all the future listeners, because I will be putting this on the YouTube channel. Kelly, I've been getting better at it.
Good job.
And I will share the link with everyone. Right now, I was looking at the Facebook numbers. Kelly, you can probably look at that because you're quicker than I am. But yes, thank you, everyone. This has been a great day. So 3 events in 2 days. Tomorrow is the 4th, and then we rest.
I don't know how you do it, Dwania. I call you. I call her.
This is how she does it.
Energizer Bunny.
Water. I'm like, I should really be called Nike, because if I say I'm going to do something, I just do it.
Just do it.
Like, don't even think about it. Just do it.
Get it done.
Suffer the repercussions later. Who needs sleep? I'll sleep when I'm dead. So, yes.
Exactly. My friend says that all the time.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. So thank you all. And if you have anything coming up, please do feel free to let me know. Like, Yvonne, I know you have the conference coming up. Send me information. I will most definitely send things out, please. So Sarah, Yvonne, Darine, Kelly's already out. Gabby.
Yeah.
And
Bye, everybody. Nice meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.